I'm going to be breaking down this month's market report for not only the city of Sarasota, but the county of Sarasota. And with this market being a very fluid market, as I'm sure you guys have all seen in the news, we are going to be breaking down very minute details that you usually don't see in your typical market reports that you are watching here on YouTube. We're going to go a little bit more in depth. We are going to compare the city versus the county. We're going to talk about the market trends that have changed not only month over month, but year over year. We are going to be talking about the predictions that we are going to be seeing just in case if you are looking at either buying or selling a house in the near future in the greater Sarasota area. And then we're also going to be digging into some finer details, such as what rent is looking like currently, and also what someone would have to make to be able to afford rent and afford a mortgage here. So really excited to kind of break this monthly market report down here for July of 2025. Now we are into August, so we are actually going to be talking about data from last month, which is going to give you a full idea of the entire picture. And if you guys don't know anything about me, my name is Noah. I am a residential real estate broker and I own a custom home building company, Jane Development Group, where we basically hold our clients' hands from start to finish, whether you're looking at buying a house, buying vacant land to build a house on, or if you already have a piece of land and you're looking for a residential contractor that builds custom houses, my development company does that as well. And that is why we have our finger on the pulse of every single asset class here in Sarasota. And that's why our market reports can be just a little bit different than everyone else's. So like we said, the landscape is constantly evolving. You really got to understand the nuances between the county and the city, because whether you're looking at investments, whether you're looking at secondary homes or even primary houses, the rules and the regulations are constantly changing, right? And that's huge for everyone to know, especially if you are not really too familiar with Sarasota. So let's first by breaking down the overall city versus the county, right? So let's take a look at the median sales price currently in July for the city of Sarasota was $619,000. That is up 15.7% year over year in just the city alone. And if you guys look on Google Maps, all of Sarasota County is obviously not the city, but a lot of people get that confused as a misconception of where the city of Sarasota versus where is the county of Sarasota. So look it up on a map and it will show you kind of the small area of actual city of Sarasota. So the median sales price per square foot for the city was $311. So when I talk in my videos, whether you guys are looking at the new construction market or if you guys are just looking at any of my videos, I talk a lot about the price per square foot because that is going to be a really big indicator on how the market is doing, right? If we're trying to decide between asset classes, I measure by price per square foot. You know, sometimes price per square foot may not be as attractive, especially if you're buying it for Airbnb. You want to look at the net numbers, you want to look at the net income and everything like that, right? So, unfortunately, the price per square foot, even though the median sales price is up, the price per square foot is actually down 21% from the last year. It's suggesting that the properties are going to be a little bit larger than what people were actually buying 1 year ago today. So we are constantly seeing an upward trend in the city of Sarasota with the huge boom that we are having in the city, with the popularity of Airbnbs, with the popularity of Siesta Key Beach, with the popularity of just being able to walk in downtown Sarasota. That's huge for a lot of residents, and you're going to be paying a premium for that. Then, of course, we have the county of Sarasota. So currently, the median home price is $429,500. That is actually down just slightly, 5.6% year over year, and 5% in 1 year in a very bad economy is not that bad if you really look at it coming off the COVID highs. If you guys are looking here right now to buy or sell, you guys obviously saw what Sarasota was like back in 2021, 2022, and the end of 2020, really. And so you saw how high up our market fluctuated, right? And not only are we talking about the median price total, so that includes condos and single family houses, but I want to break it down just a little bit more for you guys because the median single family home sales price is going to be $455,000. That is down just a little over 8% from last year. Now, this is probably the most popular asset class here in Sarasota is going to be the single family residences because HOA fees are on the rise in condo buildings. People don't want to spend a lot of time in condos when they're spending $1,000, $2,000 a month. I have listings that I carry that are well over $1,000 a month for HOA fees. So that is also something very important to note is what asset class people are majority buying. And then if we start looking a little bit more into the median condo prices. So some people, want that maintenance-free lifestyle, and some single-family communities do offer that for you here in Sarasota. Not all, but some. So the median condo price is $371,000 currently today, which is down 3% from last year. In my opinion, that number is a little bit skewed because based on my listings that I've had, based on where the market is, the condo median price is really just sitting there. It's not really trending up. It's not really going down. It's just hovering in this like little consolidation period, right? Where it's very hard to sell condos right now. There's not as many condo buyers out there. So if you are a condo seller, it's a little bit tricky. You got to get creative. You got to use social media, got to use video to really attract as many buyers as possible. And then when we want to take a look at a little bit more of a broader range of some of the bigger figures, such as days on market, time to contracts, and some other things, right? So let's first compare the city versus the county, and then let's look at the condos versus the single families. Okay, so days on market here. Everyone is so used to the pandemic cycles of houses being gone in 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. And now the sales cycle is actually back to where it originally was, or closer to where it originally was pre-pandemic. Now, everyone doesn't like this because it's taking longer for properties to sell and everyone's getting worried. I have people of some of my sellers like, Noah, my house hasn't sold in 3 weeks. What are we doing? And realistically, if you're trying to push the envelope of what is the highest price you can get in this current market, which is very tricky with limited buyers, you are going to be sitting on for a little bit longer days on market. But if you need a fire sale, that house still can be gone. If it's the right house in the right location and what everyone's looking for, that house will be gone in 48 hours, guaranteed. I see it time and time again. I have that happen to some of my properties, not all, but some of them. So days on market right now in the city of Sarasota is sitting almost a month higher than last year, sitting at 88 days on average, which if you guys look at it, there's a lot of houses on inventory, and a lot of the houses in the city of Sarasota are a little bit older. So we're getting to that range of worrying about insurance, worrying about new roofs, worrying about the elevation of properties. There's a lot of things that are going into these properties here in Sarasota that a lot of people aren't really focusing on when they're looking at the days on market. And in my opinion, with the price increases, with the aging of the houses and the condition of some of the houses, yes, we are going to see a little bit higher days on market. Then, of course, we have the county of Sarasota, which is just a little bit less than the city of Sarasota, sitting at 78 days, just about 12 days higher than the average 1 year ago today. So not terrible. We're still sitting at just under 3 months, roughly, ballpark, 4 days on market. Now, let's take a look at time to contract, right? So realistically, when we're looking at when a house is going to go under contract, single family houses are going to go under contract a lot closer, or I should say shorter than condos, especially since we have a huge condo influx right now versus our amount of condo buyers. So like condos and condo buyers, it's going to be super small. There's a lot more condos than there are buyers, so our time to contract is going to be a little bit longer. Obviously, single family houses, we're seeing 60 days on average, and the condos, we're seeing 72 days on average. And the crazy thing is that the total transaction timeline, right? I had probably the longest transaction in my entire career at about, I think, 113 days. From the time we went to contract to the time we closed, 113 days. Believe it or not, more people are stretching their timelines to be 45, even 60-day closes, right? And if it's a property that is contingent on another sale of a property, we could be under contract for 3-4 months, which is absolutely crazy to think about. And what this really all does is it is giving buyers huge amount of leverage, especially if you are looking and you've been sitting on the sidelines for a minute now. This is where you guys get the ultimate leverage over all of the sellers. Now, this may not be great for sellers to hear, but this is what sellers need to hear, especially if you are trying to overprice your house for what the buyer will actually dictate. Because what you can get for your house today is not what you could have easily got 2 years ago. And we all have to go with that mindset going into selling a house. So this is great for buyers because I just got my buyer under contract, new construction house. He got 30K off the purchase price, 25K in incentives, closing cost incentives, and then he got another 10K in a buy rate down, which is huge, guys. And a rate buy down, sorry. And so he was getting over like $60,000 almost off of like a $450,000 house. Wild to think about, because this is where the market is. Builders need to sell their inventory, sellers need to sell their houses. People aren't selling their houses if they don't need to sell their houses in this market. That is huge to understand, is that every seller that's on the market is because they have to sell, not because they want to sell like pandemic times. It is because they have to sell. Let that sink in a little bit, because that is where the buyers have the ultimate leverage. If we're looking at the inventory growth, our active listings are just about under 2,300, sorry, 2,300 homes on the market currently right now, which is a lot higher than what it was a year ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, or even 6 months ago. This is a higher amount of inventory. Single family houses we are sitting at about 6.3 months in inventory. So this is a little bit higher than obviously where we were sitting at, which I think we were sitting at one point in pandemic era. 3 weeks, I think, was our inventory, I believe. Don't quote me on it, but about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks was our shortest inventory supply, which is crazy. But now we're in a neutral market, and a buyer's market, I mean. With over 6 months of inventory indicates a buyer's market. This is key to note, especially if you are looking for those amazing deals, guys. This is where you can lowball sellers. Reasonable lowball, not high, not unreasonable, but a reasonable lowball to get the best price for your family, for you, and to find your dream house. Then we go to condo, which, no surprise, condo inventory are sitting up so high right now, is sitting at over 8 months of supply. No shocker there, because it's 2025. Who wants to buy a condo? Honest question. Who wants to buy a condo in 2025 with high HOA fees? Not sure what the reserves look like. Not sure with the dealing with the HOA drama, like stuff like that. It's great if you're older and you want a maintenance-free lifestyle, I should say, but it's not good for everyone. So you really got to figure out what your family is looking for and ultimately what you want your life to look like. And some people are looking at this being like, all right, great time to buy. This is a good time to kind of dive in, kind of throw out some offers, get some feelers out there, and really start leveraging, right? So what buyers are seeing is, obviously, like I told you, we are seeing a lot more success in negotiating actually good deals below asking. So during pandemic times, we were over like 102%, 103%, 105% sale to list ratio, which means we were overbidding. But now we are calmed down just a little bit. We are sitting at 93.7% sale to list ratio. So that means if a house is $100,000, you are getting the house on average for $193,700. Multiply that by our average sales price, which is sitting probably about 4 times higher than that. You're saving $40,000, give or take, ballpark amount. So then obviously we have those odd ducks out there. We have the people that, one, they price their house low, expecting a lot of offers. So this is kind of skewing the numbers a little bit. But then we have these amazing properties priced at a good, fair price. And these are the properties that are brand new to the market. They look fresh, they look new, they look like every other person would want to buy it. And we have a few out there. We have about 2.8% of our houses that actually get listed, or that actually sell above list price. Not much, but just a few. Then we have a lot of price drops going on. You guys have seen it. If you guys have alerts on Zillow, Realtor.com, you guys are seeing the huge price drops we are having. And almost about a third of all sellers are at least having to do one price reduction before it's being sold. And what's unique to Sarasota is, of course, we are a very cash heavy county, which means 67.2% of our properties are, or our transactions, I should say, are cash deals. It's a lot of, like I said, second families, second homes, investment properties. People are buying cash because of the higher interest rates. We're not getting a 3% interest rate anymore, guys. But some of my clients are getting into the mid fours with the brand new construction incentives that are going on. So if you guys want to leverage what new construction has to offer and get those amazing rate deals, you guys want to reach out to me because I have the exact communities that will be your friend going into 2026. So besides the market as a whole, let's take a little bit of a look at the luxury market because we do sell a lot of luxury properties, $2 million plus. I'm sitting with a $12 million listing currently on the water on 4035 Bayshore. And it's a huge property. I think it's just under 9,000 square feet, right on the water of Sarasota Bay, just a mile south of the Ringling. So pretty much walking distance to the Ringling College. So let's take a little bit of a look at the luxury segments here that not a lot of people look at, a lot of people focus on, because this is where the market is increasing, guys. Houses over $1 million, million and a half are the market that is actually staying afloat. The market 750 and below is the ones that are really struggling to ultimately find the right buyer. So if we look at the single family houses, the median sales price in South Florida altogether is about $2.9 million ballpark. That is an average of a 9% higher year over year increase due to the amount of people that are looking for a little bit higher of a price house, because obviously, as you guys know, sales price increases pretty much average at a steadily rate, especially since the COVID years. Then we have the luxury condos, which we're sitting at about 2.5, somewhere in that ballpark for the median sales price, with not as much of an increase, but just under 5% of an increase. Like I said, the right property is going to sell. And then we did just have a record-breaking transaction, which I actually went to this, I was invited to this broker's open on Longboat Key, which actually just sold for $30.3 million. It's a huge mega mansion on Billionaires Row here in Sarasota, on Longboat really, but in the greater Sarasota area. And it just set a huge record for the most premier waterfront property. So we talked about the prices. We talked about what's going on in July. Let's talk about a little bit about the troubles that we're having here in Sarasota, just so you get a little bit of an idea, right? So our average rent is $2,400 currently in Sarasota. So like I told you, a lot of people are moving here for second houses. They have remote jobs and they're taking up a lot of the housing. But what's happening is that there's not a lot of housing available for the people that work in Sarasota, such as restaurants, shopping malls that we all shop at, restaurants that we all eat at, gas stations that we all pump our gas at. All those places, those employees, those workers are not able to afford to live here, which means we are slowly going into a little bit of not a crisis, but a little bit of a problem with our workforce housing kind of situation, right? So average rent is $2,400 a month. That is up over $1,000 per month since 2020. Put that into perspective. That is about 40% increase from the COVID years. But wages did not go up 40%. Let that just sink in for a second, just so you guys understand what's going on with this market. Now, that is why, like, one of my investors is putting together an affordable housing project. I think it's going to be like 500 units. Now, it's only 500 units, but it's on a nice piece of property in Manatee County. It's just under 50 acres. And this is where people are stepping up, putting in workforce housing, putting in areas that people can actually afford to live in so that they can actually work in the community that we all live and enjoy. So the required income, if we put this into perspective, the required income is going to be about $35 an hour wage that's needed to live in a typical 2-bedroom unit here in Sarasota. And we have about 47,000 households spending more than 30% of their income on housing, which leaves them not much money for economic spending on groceries, shopping for fun things, activities, attractions, right? So a lot of people's basic income is going towards paying for their housing, and that does not even go to their family for the food, for events that they go, just having fun as a normal American. So we are seeing that, like I said, we are starting to get more build to rent developments. We're getting more ADUs put in. We're getting more affordable housing being put in. One of my investors is putting in a project together, which I'm super excited to see. I'll take you guys along with me on this tour. And then we also are going to end this video kind of on a little bit of a high note, talking about tailored advice for every group of individuals here that have watched this video through and through. Buyers, this is your time. If you are looking at buying a property, this is the time to start lowballing. This is the time to start negotiating. This is the time to start putting in offers on properties that you other once-wise weren't able to attain. The key thing is, though, get approved, because we have a lot of cash buyers dominating this market, throwing in offers, and you really have to act quickly when we find the right property. Now, if you're just deal hunting, you're going to be finding properties that have been sitting on the market for the 90 plus days so that you guys can lowball, right? And then sellers, the key is you got to price smart from the very first day on market. You cannot, this is not COVID era. You have to list a price at the fair market value of what the real estate agent or broker like myself would suggest to list at. We don't just list to list properties. We list properties to sell. And if we don't believe properties are going to sell, then we're not going to list them. That is at least my motto. If I know I can't sell it, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time at spending all of my marketing dollars, all of my photography dollars on your house when I know it's not going to sell. And of course, more people are putting more money into staging and to professional photography. That is why I have the best, in my opinion, the best photographer and videographer that is in the Sarasota area shooting all of my listings. And I pay a premium for that. And everyone asks me about my photos because they are so dang good. And of course, we have our standard investors. I have a lot of investor clients from Chile, South America, down in New England, where would that be? In England over there as well. And so what's cool is this is a great area for investors, whether you're looking to capitalize on the workforce housing problem that we got, the affordable housing, you want to look into some value add properties, fix and flips. This is the time to lowball with people and to kind of get your foot in the door here in the Sarasota market. So short-term forecast, where are we going to go from here, right? Currently, as you guys can see, we are slowly normalizing. Our prices are normalizing to where we are not going up and down, up and down. We're kind of like consolidating one little area, right? We are going to continue to see price adjustments, but we're not going to see a crash, especially here in the desirable Sarasota neighborhoods. As you guys all know, we're going to continue to see growth in the Sarasota area, but inventory levels are going to plateau. I don't think they're going to go much higher. And while, high-end properties are continuing to stay in high bloom right now on the market, especially the waterfront properties, as they say, you can't build more land. What's here is here. What's here that's already built on is going to stay. There's no way of making more land. So if you find a property, then go after it. This is the time to find the property of your dreams that you can actually call home for the rest of your life. And that is the biggest thing to look after. Is it's a huge buyer's market. It is favoring buyers very heavily and not so much for sellers. That's why sellers have to be very smart when you want to list a property right now. With a fair market, professional photography and staging is key. So if you guys did enjoy this market update, I'm going to be doing this every single month. I'm going to be doing this in different markets. I want to get you guys as ready as possible for when you guys are looking to buy or sell in the Sarasota area, especially if you're an investor, buy and sell here in the Sarasota area. So if you guys just want a one-on-one time to chat with me and my company, my development team, or me on the brokerage side, you guys can schedule a call here at my website, nowardgroup.com. And stay tuned, guys, for all the latest updates we are going to be doing in the Sarasota area, because we are going to be doing a lot of them, especially with new construction. So once again, guys, thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll catch you guys next week.